the grand reveal.
What are we looking
Guys, it
at
was
here, Jordan?
well, for
Yeah.
the people that can't see the video and also don't know me well enough to know what's different, I am no longer a blonde. Well, I guess I'm still in the blonde family, but I have started, I am a strawberry blonde now, officially, as of
Nice.
yesterday.
Looks good.
I love it.
Thank you.
Clapping as
Thank
someone
you.
in the redhead family. Welcome aboard. I'd love to
Thank you.
hear, how does it feel?
It feels It is interesting. It feels great. I was very excited. I think you guys know that I had a failed attempt like 2 months ago, and it went like carrot top copper, which was no bueno, and now, like, as of yesterday, I went to a different person, and, like, she got it, and, like, Laurel has seen that I've been, like, on Pinterest and pinning these, and it is exactly what I was hoping for. I am officially a strawberry blonde. I feel like I have a new identity. I'm feeling good.
Are you telling
Feeling
people you're
good.
a strawberry blonde? Are you like texting this to the world, walking down the street, handing out pamphlets? Walking with
I
a
mean, I feel
strut?
like you yeah, just a little so funny that you say I feel like I walked out of the salon with a bit of a different vibe. Like, I felt like I was walking out there feeling pretty good. I think what was really cool is I think you guys know that I've been, like, really interested in, like, the color palette lately. So for anyone listening, the color palette, you actually figure out what colors work with you, and the when she started drying my hair, I noticed that my, like, eyes looked bluer, my skin kinda had a bit of a different tone, and I also felt like I embodied it or embraced it, but I strut down that street home feeling I was feeling myself. I was feeling myself.
It's so interesting that hair can do that to you. It can
It
just like
is yeah.
perk your mood, make you feel good, or it could also go horribly wrong.
As it
Totally.
did 2 months ago, and I was
Yeah.
panic calling Laurel where I was,
Mhm.
like, on FaceTime. Like, I was like, "Laurel, how bad is it?" And in true Laurel fashion, "What did you say to me?"
I don't remember. I was like, it's not that bad. It's a look for sure.
You didn't
What were
say
you
it's not that bad, you were like, It's a look. It's a lot more orange than we thought."
Yeah.
Laurel, what were you thinking on the inside that you didn't actually say?
Nah, sometimes you're like, should I compliment? Like, it's fine, it'll wash out. And this was like, nah, something has to get updated here. It was
Yeah.
very, I just don't think that was a look because Jordan, you've been blonde forever. So it was like the
It was
next
one
step.
forever.
I've seen the Pinterest photos. I knew what the inspiration was. And unfortunately, this person didn't quite hit the mark. So that was hard
No.
because hair is like so attached to like confidence. And so you want to like support, but also be like, yeah, like this isn't, I don't think this is the thing that you were really looking for sure.
I felt like trash for weeks. Like, I no, it but, like, Lex, as you were saying, like, okay, so first of all, I went in so excited that day to start to live my strawberry blonde dreams. It didn't go well. I left feeling like Carrot Top, and then I had to wait for weeks for it to rush anyway. But I think part of what I wanted to talk to you about, because I was talking about this with the person doing my hair for, like, hours, and we won't get too deep into it, but I think it's relevant. So as you guys know, my last, 15 months has been about of a lot of, like, inward work, going in, some of the identity things and some of the things that I've confessed to you guys and I'm trying to improve about myself. I think what's interesting is that as I think I started to get to a certain point of that journey, I no longer felt like what was coming back in the mirror still aligned. So
Hmm.
even Nina, to your point, like you've always been a blonde, or like Laurel, you said I've always been a blonde because I have. There was just something in my reflection that wasn't jiving anymore, and I didn't feel like that blonde. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I wanna
that
hear your insights.
happens, right? Like, your identity is so foundational to who you are, whether that's inside or outside, and so you felt like you had to make a physical change because
Yes.
it just didn't transpire to what was going on with you on the inside. Something so dramatic that when you looked at yourself, you felt completely different because you were evolving
Yeah.
internally as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
didn't feel like that girl or that blonde anymore. So, like, I mean, obviously, strawberry blonde is still within the blonde family, but as you guys know, I've been pretty, like, platinum, pretty
Yeah.
bright, and that just didn't yeah. Yeah.
So, Jordan, how would you
Yeah.
describe yourself now if someone asked you who you are?
Oh, I don't know if I'm there yet, but I think what I can say, I think among us friends, and I'd actually be curious to see if you guys have noticed any of this, but I think I'm a lot more confident in who I am now, just not because of the hair, but I think because of, some of the inward reflection and like quote unquote doing the work this year. I think I'm feeling a lot more confident. Nina, I don't know if it has to do with like being in our 40s now. You and I have talked about that, and there's a different
Totally.
conversation. I would also say that, and I can tell you a story about last night, but I can also say that I think I'm sitting here as somebody who has a much better sense of what their worth is. And I think that's a
Yeah.
journey for women, like,
Mm-hmm.
for our lives. So, okay, I'll you guys got my location shared with you last night and a photo, but so I went on my first date in a while, and my first date is a strawberry blonde.
Starting off
And
with a
I don't
bang. Yeah.
yeah, start like launch myself out there. I think he was maybe surprised because I think he thought I was a platinum blonde, but whatever. I think to your point about the identity thing, I don't know if I fully know what that is yet, but I know what it isn't. And what I
Mm-hmm.
can say is, and Laurel, I give you credit for this just in terms of what you said about setting the bar. I don't think strawberry blonde me is a pick me girl anymore.
Ooh.
What's a pick me girl?
Yeah, what's a pick me
Oh
girl?
my God. All right. I'm sorry. To my friends that have been in committed relationships for like a decade plus, a pick me girl is someone who tries to be picked. Like we sell ourselves in a date,
Ew.
or we really focus more on like, do they like me versus do I like them? And as you guys know, I have had the privilege of growing up with great male friends that I feel like I can do the girls guy thing, and I kind of know what to say. I did none of that last night. I
So
was like,
proud of
Mhm.
you.
thank
Clap, clap.
you. Thank you. In fact, I was like, here are all the things, despite the fact that he's a total babe and easy on the eyes. I was like, here are all the things that I don't like about what's transpiring right now. And here are the
Mm-hmm.
things that I wish you would have done that you didn't. And then when he texted me this morning doing this whole thing, I'm like, I don't care if you pick me because I don't pick you.
That's amazing. That is like self-confidence 101 right there. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. I
Versus,
love that.
as you guys know, my focus has always been like, I hope he likes me.
I think we all are like that sometimes.
That's a female
We
thing.
want to be
For sure.
liked, right?
Female want to be wanted.
Yeah. So it's actually it's really enlightening that you're able to be like, nope, this is not for me, and I have, you know, expectations from people, and if you don't meet those expectations, like you're not for me. And I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Like asking me to dinner and then we don't get dinner.
Well, we'll definitely document your back to dating saga here,
Yeah,
Joe.
well,
But
I'm sure I'll have
sharing-
stories, especially
Yeah.
it'll be how to date as a strawberry blonde who's no longer a pick me girl.
Amazing. So Lex,
But
like talk to me about your identity here, because you newly entrepreneur, you have Romeo, right? Like
Mhm.
it's who you were 20 years ago, who you say you are now, or how do you describe your identity?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I have gone through many versions of myself since I was young. Like, talk about hair, I had the black underneath and the
Oh
I
yeah,
bleach
saw
blonde
those
on
classic.
photos.
top and the fake long nails. Like, that was something I went through in high school that I look back and I'm like, ew. But I think it happens, right? As you evolve and you change, you become different versions of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely struggled with identity for, I think, a long time in my teens and into my 20s because I was changing so much. And I mean, I think I changed my major like 4 times. I didn't know who I wanted to
One a
be,
year.
or I was like, I want to do this, no, I want to do that. And I think that's just part of being young and trying to figure out who you are. It wasn't honestly until I moved here that I started my career. I started going to the gym. I met you ladies, that I started to kind of just understand who I was a little bit more. But then I became a mom, and that really shook me in terms of like now having to embrace this new identity and like how does it fit with who I was before, which was like gym girl slash career girl, and now I'm a mom too. And so it's definitely like I think I'm evolving, and as I get older, I'm embracing the parts of myself that I really like and enjoy. And I love being a mom, but it was definitely like it was a huge change for
Okay.
me personally.
So here's what I think is interesting about what you just did, and I think we as women do it. We start to name identifiers like I was a gym girly and I was a career girl. Why can we not be the sum of the parts? And I say that as someone like in high school, I was labeled like the jock girl because I was like on all the teams. And I think, you carry pieces of that. I think what I have learned as I've gotten older is I am the sum of the parts. But what you just did, I hear from a lot of my female friends where there's this archetype and the archetype feels like a thing
Yeah.
versus the sum of the. Why do you think that is? You just did it too. It's just interesting.
I don't know if it's
like,
societal.
yeah, like it seems like it stems young. Like I'm having flashbacks to high school, or like exactly as you're talking about. There's the jock group, right? There's
Yeah.
well, back in our day would have been like the Valley Girl kind of group, the artsy group. Like, are we just like already put into these predefined groups as
Yes.
opposed to just being ourselves? Like, is that when it starts when you're really, really young and then you just carry that
Yes.
forward?
I think so.
Yes, we are filtered. They literally
Yeah.
sort you into like. I can remember being like labeled and categorized very early on. And then I remember some of that not feeling true, but it didn't matter because that was how I got labeled, especially in high school. Because I was the jock girl, I also then got labeled the tough girl. And I think I embodied elements of that and then carry it. But sometimes you get these moments, whether it's like university or entering the workforce or entering a new job, where you have that moment where you're like, nobody knows me. I can switch
Yeah.
something up, or I could try to go to something that's more authentic. But regardless, you get labeled. And I think we wear the label versus going, no, that doesn't fit with my identity, or it doesn't fit with how I want to be seen. We're more likely to take it versus pushing back against it. And I think that's a very interesting and maybe damaging thing.
100%.
think-
Like, go ahead, Lex.
I was gonna say, I think also what's interesting is that we sometimes label ourselves by like where we are in our life. So AKA mom or divorced or even career.
Single
I
girly
find is
with
like
the dog.
I find that like career always comes up first. I remember I went on a date. This is before obviously I was with my current partner, like my husband. I was living in LA. I went on a date, and the first thing the person said to me was, "So what do you do?" And I thought that was so weird because I'm like, but don't you want to know like who I am first before what I do? And so I think that is just really interesting that we kind of go with those labels first, being like about career or where we're headed in life versus the things that you love to do. Like, why not say like dog lover, passionate about food and wine, but that's not.
I feel
really
like
what
it's
I say.
safer that way, right? Like you put yourself up for so much judgment when you now start to like pick apart those little things that you love to do. I'm just thinking even like when you're doing interviews, right? Like the hardest thing to do is to sum yourself up in the first question. Like, who
Tell
are
us
you?
about
Your
yourself.
30 seconds. I always hire somebody that can do it really, really well because it's an art. But I actually think that's what it is. Like maybe it just comes down to judgment. You don't want to tell people you're like sitting in your basement and alone listening to like sad country music or something, but maybe that's how you define yourself. I don't know why I said that, but you know what I mean? Like, is it just safer to say what it is that you do as opposed to what you like?
So I love that you say that because this morning I saw some of the best advice about being authentic versus trying to put a filter on in terms of like how you want to be perceived. And I'm going to butcher it because I don't think I'd had my coffee yet or whatever, but it was basically like be your authentic self, describe yourself in the way that you would want to be described based on how you know yourself. And if the person responds to you in a way that doesn't jive with that, that's actually a good thing because you're being authentic to your identity. And if you are authentic to your identity, you will build connections with people that align to that versus if you
Totally.
dull that or you tweak that, you can't build an authentic connection because you're already mislabeling yourself or whatever. Like, if you think of how we even all became friends, like, I don't think any of us filtered ourselves or tailored ourselves back. It was
Mm-hmm.
authentically who we are, good, bad, ugly,
I don't know.
whatever. I
I
mean, you two
hate
are even wearing the same
the
shirt, but
word
Uh-oh.
be your authentic self. I think it's such
it's a
BS.
phrase, not a word, but fine.
It's
Hey,
like
give it, give it.
I
Do
just think that
tell,
everyone in
Laurel.
today's society is like, be your authentic self. Like, what if you're an asshole? You don't get to be an
Then be an
asshole.
asshole.
No,
I
I don't think
agree.
that's not true. Because
I
you
don't
would
mean
not
be an
sit here.
asshole and be prided on it, but like don't pretend that you're the good guy and
Yeah,
then
but
like
if you are
hide.
truly an asshole and your prerogative is to climb the corporate ladder at whatever cost to anybody else, because that is what you want. That's what makes you happy. Do you think that's actually, would you actually sit back and say, yeah, good on you, you're being your authentic self? Like the answer is no. We wouldn't
Well, I wouldn't
actually
say
say
good
that.
on you, but I at least appreciate that they're being authentic. Like, I also love that you jumped. I was trying to talk about something positive, about somebody
No,
feeling
she's
like
fired up.
Laurel
confident in
Just
coming
their.
in.
I feel
I
like I
don't
tricked.
like the
How was
authentic
your
self
week?
thing. The authentic self thing, but it just rubs me the wrong way because I think it's like a coverall for everybody gets to do whatever they want, whatever makes them feel
Okay,
good.
that's not
But we
how I
live in a
meant it.
society that is communal. And so you don't actually get to do the individualistic thing necessarily. That is your,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is me and everybody has to accommodate for me versus, hey, how do we make sure that we are also accommodating for other people? So if we're
I
going
wasn't
back to
saying
like,
anyone had to accommodate for me. All I was saying is that you should feel and I wasn't look, I've worked for some of those people in the corporate place too, but like
Mm-hmm.
all I was saying, I agree with everything that you're saying because I also think in society you kind of gotta like whatever. What I was saying on a more positive note, and I know it's ironic for me to be the positive one. Maybe that's my new aura as a strawberry blonde. All I was saying is that you should feel comfortable enough, not like filtering yourself, hoping that like if you filter yourself, that people will accept you more. I wasn't saying being an asshole, but I was saying like going back to the pick me girl thing, I know how to crush a first date. Like you've
Mm-hmm.
seen me do it. And then what eventually ends up happening is I start to reveal pieces of my authentic self. Maybe I was an asshole. I don't know what it was. But then you like realize you don't jive versus off the jump, feel comfortable enough in your identity and whatever
Mm-hmm.
to know what works for you, what doesn't, etc. versus like feeling like you have to sell yourself or position yourself. I don't disagree with anything that you've said. I don't think you can just like walk through life being an asshole. But I was trying to be the positive one. Maybe that's what surprised you that I was being positive. But I also feel like
So,
you had a tough week.
so Laurel, then what, like, how do you describe your identity then?
there,
Oh,
yeah,
she's
like I
gonna get
don't think
triggered.
there's not there's not a like a specific thing. I think it is kind of like you are like Jordan, what you said at the beginning, there's a bunch of stuff. It's like there's things that you like, there's things that like who you are. Like, yeah, you can be labeled as like a mom and a coworker and a neighbor and all of these things. So you can use that and like and then all the things you like. So it's a sum of everything. I don't like that again. The societal piece right now is to like, yeah, be your individualistic, authentic self. You have to be defined. Like you need to know exactly who you are. And I think part of it is like,
Mhm.
I don't know who I am. Like Lex, like you, I
Yeah.
changed my degree like 5 different times. In my current job, I've had like 8 different jobs. And so part of it is like, I want to learn and grow. And I don't know if I know what that is. And so I don't really want to put a box on it. I don't know, like, I don't know what that is. I want to kind of continue. And so I think it's just a sum of a bunch of things. And I don't like being asked the question, like, what is your identity? Like it's really hard for me because I think there's a bunch of different things foundationally that contribute to that.
So here's what I think is important also in terms of what you're saying. And it kind of goes back to Lex's thing about like, I thought I was, this characteristic. Like, I actually think what's great, and I feel like I can say this, especially based on like my last 15 months or my journey, is I think identity can be constantly evolving. I think who you are, maybe at your core with your norms and your values and your mores, probably doesn't change. I think that's probably embedded into you. Like Laurel, I think some of us are just, maybe you're an asshole from birth or whatever, however, but I do think based on your life journey and your experiences, your identity can absolutely continue to evolve or be enhanced or whatever. And
Mm.
I think maybe something times, especially for women, that's a tough thing because it feels like, back to what you were saying, we get sorted and slotted. You're
Yeah.
either the jock girl or like even my date last night, he was like, you're the athletic girl who's like more confident and this, that. He's like, my ex-wife was this petite fashionista. I'm sorry, have you seen my closet? Like, why can't you
Mhm.
be both?
Yeah, I completely appreciate what you say, Laurel, because I do think that you can grow and there's an element you wake up and you don't really know what you're doing. And I definitely had that when I turned 40. Like it just hit me like a ton of bricks where I looked inside and I said, like, who am I? Like you look at the
Mhm.
second half of your life, supposedly, because this is literally midlife, and you try to figure out do I like myself? Is this who I want to be? Am I doing those things I thought I would be doing at 40? I mean, Joe, did you have a
Mhm.
similar experience in midlife? Like to me, that's such a defining time when you're figuring out who you are because there's this like biological thing that happens that actually forces you to ask these questions you may or may not even be prepared for. Did you go through that, Joe?
Oh my god. So I remember, I think before we turned 40, because for anyone listening, Nina and I have birthdays that are just a couple months apart. I think we had had that conversation after the
Mhm.
gym front seat where we were both kind of recognizing that we were about to hit this massive milestone of 40 and we were having that check-in with ourselves where I think you had realized you didn't have any hobbies. I
No
realized that I
hobbies.
wasn't really like where I thought I was going to be. And then the pandemic hit for both of us. And I can vividly remember where I was sitting in my old house on the couch texting Laurel because how I envisioned turning 40, where I was going to be at that stage in my life, how I was going to celebrate turning, like all of these
Yeah.
things that I had in my mind had kind of been taken from me because of the pandemic. And also because maybe I hadn't made some of the best decisions. Fortunately, Laurel was there on the other side of the text message. And I think Laurel and I ended up going out to dinner or whatever and all these things. But I do remember turning 40. And I think, Laurel, I said to you, I said, anyone turning 40 during the pandemic should get the last few years back so we could get a
Totally.
do-over. But
Mhm.
I didn't have an issue with the number of 40. I still don't have an issue saying like, hey, I'm 43.
Agreed.
I think to your point, what was challenging for me, and I think this happens at a variety of milestones for women, is that you think that you're supposed to be somewhere or have some kind of identifier at a certain milestone. Like that I think was tough for
Yeah.
me, but I will say that since turning 40, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like things have gotten better because I've become a little bit more apologetic, not just running around like an asshole, but wanting to like figure out more of who I am, etc., because
Yeah.
of some of those things. But um yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that too late? Like, I don't know. I mean, or do we just
Never too
evolve?
late.
Like with every decade, you're asking the questions, who am I? Am I happy? Right? Like, is this who I want to be? Or
Mhm.
do we need to like force each other to have those moments in time to actually do that? Doesn't
So
matter.
I think if you're being a good friend, you force someone to recognize something. So
Yeah,
you did this for me. I was sitting in this exact chair and we were on a call because I was not doing great. I had just moved in here. I was really upset. Nina, you gave me some tough love. I called Laurel after because I was crying as a result of your tough, but that was critical tough love that I need. So I think there's a bit of I think it's great for, I think women are naturally introspective. I
totally.
think the challenge is now with social media and some of those societal pieces, our introspection then feels wrong somehow because it doesn't fit into some kind of category or vision of what it should be. So maybe you back off from the introspection or you feel like, I don't know, I'll ask the moms this because I don't know. Hey, maybe the identity I want or the journey I'm on doesn't work right now because I am a quote
Mm,
unquote mom, but I do think if you, as you guys have done for me, if you have a friend that's at a phase who, the way that I did with you guys, declares, I'm in this phase, I feel this way, here's what I'm struggling with from an identity perspective. I think doing your friend the solid of I hear you, blah, blah, blah. Maybe here are the things that I would agree that you're not doing a great job at, or you need to find more balance on, or whatever. And then kind of helping them through it as they go, I think is great. Because they might find a different or evolved identity coming out of that. But I think we're constantly changing, and I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah.
I,
Has
yeah, and I
I
anyone
think
think
it's
like
so many
okay.
things.
It's
yeah,
okay to be changing, constantly changing.
has anyone like felt like they totally just lost their like identity? I know Jordan, you did. You sort of that's the genesis of this podcast was you felt
Yeah.
you didn't know who you were. But
Sitting in the
Laurel, Lex,
suburbs in
like
someone else's home with somebody else's family, like, who am I?
yeah. I'm like curious to hear from you. What were those moments you had time when you just said, who am I? Like what am I doing right now? Is this who I am? What's happening?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that. Like
Good.
again, probably because I don't have something that I feel like I've been living into specifically, so that to like look back and say it was something else. Like I know Jordan knows like we didn't know if we wanted kids, didn't know if we could have kids, and like so that's one of those big things that I think women consider, I would say, in terms of
Yeah,
identity, like the mom thing or
totally.
not the mom thing or mom in some other way. And but even that I was kind of like either way, like it's not going to define me. So I didn't really
Mhm.
have that either way. And so, yeah, am I an older mom right now? Yes. So for the listeners, I'm 39. I have a 1 and a 3-year-old. And so am I looking forward to the fact that I'm going to be like 60 when they're
Mm.
like in university? Maybe not. But in terms of identity, like I haven't had that. And mostly too, like I have had good friends like Jordan that is like really pushed and encouraged me. Like my husband too is very much like, what do you want to do? Like, how do we encourage
Mm.
you? How do we get you there? And so I think that support system on being willing to be open, I thought it is important because no one's going to ask you, are you happy where you're at if you're not willing to be open with somebody that you're close to? So
It's
I
a good
think
point.
having
Boom.
like a group of friends like this, or whether it's a group or one person, that you can actually be open with to say like, "Hey, I'm not feeling great," or "I'm not feeling this," that's helpful. I
And
don't
I
know,
think
Lex, what about
sometimes
you?
we're afraid to. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, and because
Totally.
I want to hear Lex's perspective. But for anyone listening, if you are feeling like you are holding that back, it doesn't have to be all your friends that you tell, but tell a friend.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lex, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I think it's a hard conversation to have. Like I think people for whatever reason we're supposed to feel like we know our identity and we're supposed to be a certain way or speak a certain way about who we are. We're supposed to be confident. Like I think it's just a really hard thing to open up about. Like even me, I feel bad sometimes saying that like becoming a mom was very difficult for my identity because I was having to just figure out who I was now as a mom caring for this child and like letting go parts of me like okay, people might think it's ridiculous, but like it'd been 8 years. I was going to the gym 4 days a week, and all of a sudden I was going no days a week, and I was kind of like, I didn't feel like I looked good, and I felt bad about
Yeah.
myself because I hadn't lost
You
weight, and so
always
there's
look
like a
great in your
whole,
little crop tops, your little rock and roll crop tops, you little hottie.
well, it's just
You
I
are.
I think it's thank you. It's hard. It's a hard adjustment, I think, for some women who maybe I don't know if I was just attached to that part of me and now I have to find like what that new normal is. I'm still figuring it out. I mean, I try and go to the
You're
gym here
still
and
a
there, but
cute, like, you're just a
it's
cute mom now. You're still cute as
it's
hell.
but it's just part of that like something in your life really changed big time and it's like
Mm.
what do you do in that moment about who you are? It's just a hard thing I think to talk about because I don't think I felt comfortable at that point telling
Mm.
anybody. It's only now that I'm like looking back and looking at my experience and say, "Oh god, I wish I would have talked to somebody and probably would have lightened the load a bit at that point in my life when I was feeling very stressed and struggling with not sleeping and caring for a child and all the difficulties that come with that,
Do
but
you
also
think
with
that's
who I
because
was."
do you think it's because you had identified as like whether formally or informally, you were the gym person? Like your body was important, working out was important, community was important, but you didn't articulate that as being your identity. And so as soon as that gets taken away, this is like anything.
Mm.
It's like, who am I? And it's like, if
Yeah.
you are the career person and you've climbed the ladder and you're redundant at all of a sudden, you're like, who am I? Like, that is what I've
Yeah.
built my whole career on. And so
Yeah.
that's where like the defining piece, like whatever you build, you spend most of your time on. It's like there's a Mumford and Song about like where, oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this. I can't, I
Same.
don't remember it. We're gonna have to like go back and
Okay.
add this back in, but something about wherever your heart is where your love is, or where your love is where your heart is. And I think like is it because you had kind of semi-defined yourself as that, and then when that's gone, you feel like, yeah, like what is it? I got to reshape it and re-articulate it.
And
Yeah. And
I
I think
think
this is where the hobbies thing comes in too, Nina, where you were saying,
Ugh.
like, I don't have hobbies. Like, you kind of go back to this weird space where you're like, okay, if it's not the gym, like, can I find something that I love? Or like, can I go get my hair done? Because like, I need to get my hair done. It's just gonna make me
Yeah.
feel better. Or like, I feel like you just kind of have to find these moments to these simple joys in life, even if that's like going out for a nice coffee. Because even though you have a great coffee machine at home, you're like, I just need it someone else to make me the coffee. So that
100%.
I deserve this. But I think it's interesting because, like, even Laurel, you mentioned like the corporate thing, and like sometimes that gets taken away. So I never exited the workforce for like motherhood, but I got restructured once. Like, the product that I was owning, despite the fact that we were hitting targets and selling, the product was pulled from the market. It was just like a corporate decision. And I remember being very stunned because there was no writing on the wall that this was even possible. And I remember having a very delayed reaction, like got the news and I was like, all right, like walked home, blah, blah, blah. It was a nice day, took and a couple days later, I can't remember what triggered it, but I realized that like I didn't have that identifier of saying like where I worked and who I was. Like I had been
Yeah.
so attached to the business
mhm.
card. And I think similar to Nina, I had realized that probably I can't even remember how long, but I had sacrificed so many of my hobbies because I was like, I'm this career girly now in downtown Toronto in her condo with her cute sized dog and blah, 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 blah. And this is the job and this is the expense account. And when that was taken, I had to go through this whole thing of like, who am I now? And I think what's interesting is that when everything went topsy turvy 15 months ago or whatever, you guys all watched me and I'm recognizing it now as I'm talking about this. What did I do? I doubled down back on my career.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I went
It's a
right back to that identity
yeah.
when
Mhm.
the other one,
It's a
that's
safe
Because it's
crazy.
place.
comfortable. Yeah.
Totally.
Because I know it's and that's how people see me. And that's where I
Yeah.
feel comfortable. I feel comfortable in my skill sets there. I feel comfortable in my contributions there. I feel
Mhm.
comfortable with like the people that, like your work friends or whatever within my company and others. That's actually really, I guess I'm not as evolved in my journey as I thought.
I do have to say, I mean, I know we don't have that much time,
Shit.
but I was looking around my office the other day and I'm definitely, of the older ilk at my office. I mean, I do work for a PR agency that attracts, young people, but everyone is like in their early 20s, looks the same. I can't remember names because I can't distinguish them at all, which is terrible. However, the point the point is that I'm also now in my work, which is supposed to be my safe space, thinking like, who am I as this like,
Mhm.
more senior person trying to like meld in with some of the younger
Yeah.
folk. I can't speak the language. Like, who
No.
do I hang out with? What do I do? How do I
I have no
identify? Like,
riz.
I have no riz. I have to look up definitions every 2 seconds, especially acronyms. But I guess the other side, I just embrace that.
No cap.
with so yeah, I mean, even though career can sometimes be a safe place, I do feel like the older you get, the more experience you get. If you're at a place for a long time, or if you're starting a place new, you still have to kind of claim an identity in there.
I would like to say what's ironic about the fact that we're having identity right now is that you two showed up wearing very similar shirts, but that's not the point I
We
was
are
going to
wearing
make. But
yes, Lex and I are both
the
wearing
black
points.
stripes
This
are
is
very
true.
very on brand. But
Yeah.
I think to your point, I had this shock. Nah, I don't know if it was that shocking, but it was a moment that kind of rocked me a little bit. I was sitting in a boardroom with a lot of I don't like saying like junior members or whatever
Mhm.
of my team, but they are more junior. And I had this moment where I realized that I'm now that senior most person on the team. And I had always been the younger, edgier digital person. I had
Yeah.
my nose ring and all my piercings, and that worked because I was the digital person that was like leading these things that no one really understood and it was new. And now I'm sitting in the boardroom and they're talking to me about all these things and these bots that they're building, et cetera. And I'm sitting there realizing that, like, from an identity perspective, as I'm going through this journey, figuring out like how does the internal now become the new external? How am I now in this corporate world? Oh my goodness, I'm no longer the young dynamo. I'm now the person
Yeah.
that's kind of at the top stabilizing the ship. Oh, I'm still this person that like doesn't have this other title. Like I'm still the like single with the dog, and that's all still floating around. But I think the thing that we're all saying, and for anyone listening, I think it's the like, don't sweat the identity. Your identity can be
Totally.
whatever you want it to be, unless you're an asshole. Laurel, I'm not going to negate that that's not okay. You should not be proud of being an asshole. But I think there is something to be said about feeling comfortable in your identity, not like limiting it to anything. Know that it can be constantly evolving, and that's fine. And if you change the hair, or you change the job, or you change your major multiple times, or whatever it is, do it if that's what you're feeling. If that's what you're feeling,
Totally.
go for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't
it
get
is
stuck.
so liberating.
Mhm.
Don't get
Absolutely.
stuck. Like, it's so like, if we hadn't changed or evolved, like, think of all the things that you would have missed. Like, the more experiences you have, the more
Mhm.
I think getting to that evolved state and just owning whoever you are at that time is great. And I like, I didn't mean to make fun of you earlier, Laurel, saying that you were going to get triggered, but I get it. No one wants to be like, what is your identity? And I love your response because you're like, I'm not a thing. I'm not
Yeah.
a tagline. And I'm going to start to mimic Laurel's, where I'm going to be like, I'm not a thing.
Mhm.
I'm the
And that's
sum of the
okay.
parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
We don't have to
I'm
label ourselves. I think at the end of the day,
Yeah.
But
there's no reason why we have to say like I am this one thing. I think it's just
totally.
where you are
I,
in that moment of life.
And
I thought
keep
you were going to say
challenging each
but,
other.
Nina.
No, I was going to say keep challenging each other, keep encouraging each other. If someone deviates in your life, bring them back or explore why they're deviating. And
Mhm.
Joe, I got to say, as we close out, welcome to Team Redhead. We'll take you. It's fun.
I'm kind of like, yeah. I mean, they say that blondes have more fun, but although I'm not even 24 hours in, like, I feel like I had a pretty good day and feeling like I don't know nothing against the blondes, especially one of my lovely ones sitting here, Laurel, but like, I don't know if it's part of the journey. I don't know if it's part of like feeling like, hey, I'm sending this signal of I've got this different thing, but like, this strawberry blonde isn't the pick me girl. She's not going to be like stuck on one label. I'm feeling good about it. So anyone out there that
Love it.
just anyone listening, don't get bangs. Just take a breather before you get the bangs.
We can bring
Unless
that
you're
up
Nina.
next episode.
Unless
Thank you.
next time. I won't get bangs again. Anyway, thanks for this, guys. Talk to you next time.
Talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for being part of the After Call. If this felt familiar, you're not alone. Hit subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this episode with a friend. See you next time for more real talk about the beautiful, messy chaos of life.